Hello there and welcome to this video on the Daystate Delta Wolf. In this video we're going to be covering the removal and replacement of the clear plastic tube which runs up the inside of the chronograph. The clear plastic tubes are readily available from Daystate themselves and they're fairly inexpensive at £7 for a pair. With that all said and done, the tools that we're going to need to complete this job will be on screen now, and with that all out of the way we can begin the job. First thing we're going to do is remove the barrel by loosening this screw in the back here using a 3mm Allen key. A few turns will do us, then we can slide the barrel out from the front. There we have it there. We'll stick the rifle over to one side. Next up we can remove the outer carbon fibre shroud by removing these two grub screws here using a 2.5mm Allen key. Once they're removed, we can slide the carbon fibre tube off and we're left with the chronograph. Next thing we have to do is remove this brass nut from the end. To do that, we're going to lay the chronograph on its side like so. Find something that's a good fit in these holes in the side here. Place that through like that. And then by taking our nice wide flat bladed screwdriver, we can loosen the brass nut. Now this is one of the newer aluminium chronograph housings, and from the factory they can have a small amount of blue Loctite around this nut here, so it might be a little tight the first time you remove it, and that's the reason for the tight fitting object in the holes here. Once we put something through there, we can grip onto this nice and tightly and unscrew the brass nut without having to worry about the chronograph unscrewing itself from the barrel. But with the brass nut removed, first thing we can do is remove this O-ring from the end of the chronograph, this one here, and then by using our finger we can push it in there and pull the clear plastic tube out. There we have it there. The O-ring on the bottom of the clear plastic tube did also come out on my rifle, but you may need to give that a little tap to get it out. So what I normally do is upend the chronograph, give it a little bang, and that should knock the O-ring loose and allow it to fall out the end. Now before we go on to refitting the clear plastic tube, I thought we'd show you the old chronograph design. So this is the old one with the plastic housing, although the operation to remove the clear plastic tube is pretty much identical. We still have the brass nut on the end, we still need a nice wide flat bladed screwdriver to remove it, although the holes in the side of the chronograph are a little smaller, so you may need a slightly different tool to remove the nut at the end. Although as the housing is made from Delrin instead of aluminium, the brass nut in the end isn't normally secured using Loctite. With that said though, we'll get on to refitting the new parts. The reinstallation of the parts here is pretty much exactly the same as the disassembly, just in reverse. The first thing we'll do is take our O-ring, drop that into the base of the chronograph, and then make sure that's nice and seated by looking down it and making sure that the O-ring isn't cocked off to one side. Next we'll drop our plastic tube in, top that off with an O-ring, making sure that seats nicely, like so, and then we'll take our brass nut and screw it in by hand. Then we'll take our flat bladed screwdriver and do the nut up nice and tight. Now this does squash two O-rings, so it doesn't have to be done up extra tight. It just needs to squash the two O-rings so that it's nice and contained. If you do it up too tight, there is a risk that you'll press the O-rings out of the housing and that may cause you problems with clipping. So it just needs to be done up nice and tight, but not so tight as it squashes the O-rings out of the housing. But there we have it there. If you were worried about the nut coming loose under normal operation, you could add a small amount of low strength Loctite to it and that will stop it from coming loose. Although as this is a sub 12 rifle, I'm not worried about that happening, so I'm going to be leaving it as it is. With that done, we can take back our carbon shroud, push it over the barrel, getting the holes lined up, and then reinstall the two grub screws. And that's done using a 2.5mm Allen key. With the chronograph rebuilt, we can bring back the block of the rifle and get the barrel installed. First thing we're going to do is take a look on the side of the barrel, locate the dimple, and get that aligned with the grub screw in the side of the block. Next thing we're going to do, nice and carefully install the barrel, pushing that all the way home, and then doing up this grub screw in the back here using a 3mm Allen key. And with that done, the chronograph has been fully rebuilt and it's ready to test. What we'll do next is just put a pellet through the rifle to make sure that everything in the chronograph is still working exactly how it should. And as we can see from the side of the rifle there, the chronograph is still working exactly how it should. So that's $7.95, and that, for anyone interested, is using express pellets, so we know the rifle's nice and safe. With that all being said, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. So I hope it's been useful. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.